everyone, and welcome to Class Act with Ilse Klink, where I help you take the hustle out of getting started as an actor. This week, I'm going to be chatting to you about how to build a character, how to be your creative selves. If you're new to my channel, welcome. It's very good to have you here. And as usual, I have a special guest at the end of this video to tell us about the two things that they wished they had known when they started out as actors. And this week, my special guest is Shimmy Isaacs, wonderful comedian, actress, producer, and writer. And she's really incredible. At the moment, she can be seen on Arendsvlei. Remember that you can book an acting class, audition preparation, or career advice from me on www.ilseklink.com, which is my website, and it'll give you all of the details there. Just pop me an email. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the box below after you've watched this video. On to this week's discussion. So when eventually you've booked that marvelous part that you've auditioned so hard to get, it's quite daunting to hear that you got it. I mean, it's exciting, but it's also daunting because now you have to create this character from scratch. Obviously, the writers will give you information about the character, so what the attitude is, where they come from, where they find themselves at this point in the story, and a little bit of background. But that's not enough. You've got to go and do your homework. You'll have a basic character that you can work with. Obviously, you can have discussions with either writers or the directors who know a little bit more about the character. But you've got to actually breathe life into the character. And I would suggest that you do a character biography. Because remember that you are creating an entirely new person, a new human being that only exists on paper. So you've got to breathe life into it and make it stand up off the page. That is your job. I would suggest that in the beginning, you've got to read your script, obviously, to understand quite a bit about your character. So that you have the basic storyline. You've got to find, and then you've got to start creating your character, where they come from, what kind of education they had, what their attitudes are towards certain people, what their background is. Did they have a mother or father? Are they orphaned? You know, all of these choices, you've got a multitude of choices or a multitude of decisions that you can make. And understand that this backstory or biography of your character might never be seen by the director or by your fellow actors, by anybody else but you. What you need to understand, we are human beings. So as human beings, we're ever changing. And this is what will happen with your character as well. So you might make certain choices for your character, but understand that life is fluid and things can change. But once you have like a solid foundation to work from, it becomes easier to make those choices, you know. Do they have siblings? Where did they grow up? Did they grow up poor? Did they have a university education? But did they get a scholarship? Are they really good at what they do? You know, what kind of job did they have before? What is their relationship with their parents? What is their relationship with their siblings, with their friends? All of those kinds of questions you can ask. How old is your character? You know, and sometimes what I like to use is, what is the character's star sign? Because that also gives you like, whether you believe it or not, I do. So I always give a character a star sign, and I can work within those parameters depending on what it is that I've been given by the writers to start off with. Once you've read through your script a number of times, you can understand what your relationship is between each character that you are working with. You know, what is your attitude towards a certain person? Do you think less of them? Does your character think less of them? Are you very wise? Are you very clever? Are you cunning? Are you able to fool a particular character? Can you get what you want? You've got to see how your character fits in. What is their super objective? What is it that they really want in life? You know, what's your super objective, and what are the other objectives that come after that? So I played a character, at the moment I'm playing a character that really wants to rule the world. She really wants to be super, super powerful. that is her aim. She wants to build an empire. That is a super objective. What are the other objectives that she has? She also wants to have a family that is supportive of her and that she supports. And you can decide what those objectives are. And a lot of that you will find in the script. And what is the objective in the scene that I'm playing now? What does my character want? Playing your want, my dogs are really busy. Playing your want is super, super important in every scene, because that is the driver of the scene. Your want and what you're coming up against, what you can't get, becomes the tension in a scene. So that's very important. Understand what the tension is in the scene. You also have to discover where your character is, or when your character is. What's the time period? Where are we playing the scene? Is it a little town? Is it a big city? Is it in the 80s? Is it in the 60s? All of these understandings will lead you to how the character is being played. Is it somebody that was involved in the riots in the 80s? Were they an activist? What was their job as maybe a youth leader? Did they have to do certain things that they wouldn't necessarily do? That is not really part of their character, but in a particular situation, they're forced to do a particular action because of where they find themselves. Important also to just look at yourself, because we use elements of ourself to create a character. We can't create a character without being who we are. So we have certain attitudes and certain beliefs and all of those things. But remember that this is not you. You're using a part of yourself that you can or that character can superimpose themselves on a part of yourself. But you are the creator of someone new. You're only using your body and your person as a basis, but you've got to create a 3D human being. And the important thing is also, never judge your character. Never judge your character, because you would be judging your character with your attitude as the person you are right now, instead of standing apart from your character and respecting the choices that your character makes and all of the things that happen, the good and the bad. Because when you're working with human beings, you are working with a 360 person. It's a 3D person. You're not working with a 2D person, you're working with a whole human being that has certain things that happen to a particular human being will change the way they interact in certain moments with various people, depending on where they find themselves. So remember that, sometimes you want to just look pretty in a show. You just want to be beautiful. You just want to, this is the face they hired. No. Your character needs to be in vulnerable moments. These are beautiful How to Get Away with Murder, which is a series I'm watching at the moment. And the character of Viola Davis, Professor Keating, we see her as the strong woman. And then in that same episode, you see her completely vulnerable and exposed. And then that same night, later on in the evening, so she wears this wig and she's always made up and she looks gorgeous and in a vulnerable moment, or when she goes to bed, there's no makeup on. There's not a stitch of makeup on the actress's face. She's wearing something that covers her head, like one of these silk scarves or whatever it is that she goes to bed with. That is totally exposing yourself and not judging and going, oh, no. She wouldn't wear a doek on her head when she goes to sleep. Oh, no. She needs a little bit of eyeliner when she goes to bed. So we see her in the various states of being. We see her completely naked in her essence, without a stitch of makeup on, without the wig on. She's in her pajamas. She's got a doek on her head, nothing on her face. And we see her vulnerable and in her own space. You are there as a character and you are driving a story. You're telling a story. So you're part of something, And you've got to show all of these various parts of your character. Because remember that life is fluid. things happen in life. And I hear a lot of times, my character would never do something like that. Are you sure? Are you sure your character will never do something like that? Because now you find yourself, or the character finds itself, in a situation where they have no choice. They have no choice, and they'll do something completely out of character. But remember that you shouldn't judge, and you should just allow the character to flow and be as they are. Because the question is, how many times have you done something that's totally out of character? Totally out of character. You know, we all have those moments where we are not ourselves. We're stepping out of who we normally are, but that's still you. That is still you. And you must remember that when you are playing a character. It's not just a one-dimensional. If you want to create an interesting character, it's never a one-dimensional character. It's always a 3D character. And that's what I have for you this week.
Hi, I'm Shimmy Isaacs, stand-up comedian, actress, writer and producer within film, television and theatre. What are the two things that I wish I had known when I got into the industry of live performance? Well, I would have to be honest and say that I wish that someone had told me that I might have to fight for my authentic voice within the space as a woman of color and as a woman with a very specific cultural background. However, one of the things I would like to share with you as young artists coming into this industry, don't just do one thing. Do as many as you can. Write, produce, but most importantly, own your voice. Own your work. Your intellectual property is sometimes the only power you have. Knowing our worth is not always enough. It is important to know what to say no to. That was something that I was told many years ago in university. My lecturer said to me, Shimmy, as much as you like to say yes, it's also important to know what to say no to, so that you can stay on the creative trajectory that you've carved out for yourself. Carve out a brand, but most importantly, carve out your name. Because sometimes our names is the only thing that we have to hold on to our true identity. As an actress, whether you're black, whether you're white, or whether you're colored, your name is the only thing that you have. Carve it out and light it up. It's important for you to be fearless, okay? It is important for you to take risks, especially as an actress. Take your character on the journey that you least expected them to go on. That is what makes for great entertainment. But what I love to say is that is what makes for great progress and process within the acting realm. I absolutely love what I do. And I hope that what I share has made an impact into anyone watching this video. God bless. And happy acting.
Thank you so much to the lovely Shimmy Isaacs, who is a fantastic comedian and who really understands her identity and is very strong on that. And she's also a motivational speaker. She's just a wonderful human being all around. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share and subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, please post them in the box below. Remember that you can visit my website on www.ilseklink.com for acting lessons, audition preparation, as well as career advice. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Much love. Bye now.